You can start now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 4:01 p.m. today, the 19th of February, 2025. We'll do a land acknowledgement. I will read the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hat-Iwen Darkrunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all the Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No? Okay. The next would be adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Okay. Rebecca and Donna. Thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor? Have we already done? Anybody opposed? No? Cool. So the agenda is passed for today, adopted for today. The next would be adoption of minutes. 5.1 Road Safety Committee 6 2024, November 2024. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes? Sean and Rebecca, thank you. Anybody opposed? Okay, so this motion is passed. Now we'll come on to the presentation. 6.1 Accessible Parking Permit Exemptions. I will call on Angela Cortes for her presentation regarding accessible parking permit exemptions. She'll have 10 minutes for her presentation.
She's just coming into.
Okay.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Angie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can start whenever you're ready.
I can start whenever I'm ready.
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Angie Coates. I own Angio Antiques on Front Street South, going into its 11th year. Thank you, Justin, for allowing me to speak to the parking issues. Currently challenging the downtown, I also have disability challenges that I have worked with City Council to help identify and resolve issues for all disabled people. Issue number 1. We're suggesting, from the information that I've been given, that a crosswalk on Front Street from a disability laneway spot to the other side, the most popular place is J.C. Petissier. To expect disabled people to go to Albert Street or Sullivan Avenue is unacceptable. In light of the recent snow issues, if one wants to cross to get to the shops, there's no access. You have to climb the curb and over snowbanks. And having a disability, as you know, you're compromised to begin with. So we're suggesting the rationale is if somebody gets hit, or they could be charged with jaywalking. Also, hopefully, it's going to slow down the cars. I know it was thought of previously to put road bumps in there, but this would certainly have a huge, huge impact on the downtown if crosswalks could be implemented. That's the first issue. Number 2, disability permit needs a bylaw to remove the timed parking restrictions for all of Thorold, not just Front Street. And I'm suggesting this, if Toronto and Hamilton can do it, it takes me a half an hour to get in my vehicle, a half an hour to get out. That's an hour before I've even gone anywhere. And what we are suggesting is that a bylaw be introduced to have the restrictions of people with disabilities removed in its entirety. We can park there and we can go at our pace, not what the city dictates our pace should be. 3, there's inconsistent signage or no signage for a parking 2-hour limit. I know one person got a no parking violation for $50. And yet 1 block away where McDonald's is, there's nothing posted for parking. And people will come to my shop and ask me, how many hours? I said, well, where are you parked? And some people tell me they're on Front Street. Some people tell me they walked all the way from Tim Hortons. I said, you don't have to worry about Tim Hortons. You can park there. It says 2 hours, but they don't enforce it. That's this inconsistent signage. We need to be consistent throughout the entire downtown core. Number 4, paid parking. The lot behind Henderson's, you have to get a ticket, is unacceptable. Often it doesn't work, and we need a machine in all the lots. I have to physically, if somebody parks there, get a ticket, take it to the other parking lot and display it in my window or in the downtown so I can park for more than 2 hours. Again, that's not acceptable. And I'm taking information from a lot of the people that are in the downtown. They would like to see parking meters in all of the spots that are designated. The next issue is the monthly parking paid by vehicles needs a window permit, not a vehicle permit. I have several people that have come to me and said they got a ticket because they brought their husband's vehicle. It's a real simple, you get a parking permit for the person, not the vehicle. And if we could somehow get that point across, that would be great. Number 6, no one knows the names of the parking lots. When they call the police, it's a huge safety issue. One person I know knows lot number 1, 2, 3, and 4. The police don't even know. And when I've called the police, they'll say, what is the lot? I'll say, I don't know, it's behind Henderson's, or it's behind where my shop is. It's very unacceptable. It has to be posted to the street too, with an arrow pointing to the lots. That's a suggestion. And number 7, just Front Street South lost 10 plus parking spots with the deviation of the streetscape plan. Approved and budgeted. Curbs were installed. That was not in the plans. It's not AODA compliant by 2025. And there are curbs that could be cut into to create more spots on Front Street. I go to JC Patissier every morning. I see people pulling into spots that aren't spots. All they need to do is cut back the sidewalk, and I would bet money you get 10 more spots on Front Street. And I'm saying that, come and ask me. Come to JC Patissier. You can watch from there and see people pulling in. And having said all that, are there any questions that I can answer? And this is respectfully submitted to the council for review, please. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Angie? Thank you, Angie. This is now open for discussion. Any suggestions, Sean, from your end? Mr. Dunsmore, yeah.
I suggest that you guys discuss the items one at a time and decide as to how you would like to move forward.
I'm sorry, Sean, I didn't hear you.
I believe the committee should be discussing these items one at a time and decide how you want to move forward, make a recommendation to council.
I have to submit them one at a time, are you saying?
No, not you, Angie.
Oh, sorry.
The rest of the committee.
Okay, thank you. I'll be quiet. Thanks,
So
John.
if we can have Angie's points given to us one by one, and we could go through them as per their merits, we could all look into that, discuss it. I believe there are points of valid discussion here. Definitely, for sure. Looking forward, if everybody is okay with it, we could take it from Justin, the points, and then we could put it forward towards the committee maybe for the next meet, or do you want to discuss it today? The house is open for that. Yeah, Donna.
There are a lot of points here. I'm not sure we would get through all of them, but I think we should at least begin discussion on this. I also have disabilities that I deal with, and mobility is one of them. The snow is difficult for everybody, but particularly for people who already have trouble getting around. I'm all for helping disabled drivers to, be able to be more have easier access to from their vehicles to the shops and back. I know that there's a lot of areas where there's people that park in the disabled spots that don't have the right to park there. I see that all the time. They don't have the signage, the little card that says they are allowed to park in those spots, but they park there anyway. There's also, I believe there are a lot of, this might be outside of this discussion, but I have seen many of those little cards that are clearly photocopied that are not legitimate. So that is another whole area where the people that have those are taking up the spots from the people that legitimately need those spots. So there is a lot of issues surrounding this whole disabled access thing. So to begin discussions, I think would be a good thing. If there's time today, we can at least address some of the points.
Matthew?
Yeah, Don, I agree. I think one thing we can talk about is the disability permit exemptions that requires no engineering or plans to be done. That's simply just verbiage, I guess, in policy and bylaws. And she has an excerpt here from the city of Toronto. I just looked up the city of Hamilton, and I mean, it all makes sense to me, right? The rationale is logical to me. So yeah, I would agree in allowing them an exemption at all times.
Yep. Good afternoon, Councillor Rose. Regarding Donna, you said about the stickers for the cars. Can you just unmute, Donna?
Could you
Yeah.
repeat that, please?
You were talking about the car stickers or the cards for the cars, right?
Yes.
Is it a good idea to have the stickers put on the cars rather than to be carried around? Let's assume that each person gets 2 stickers, and if they would have 2 cars, they would be using it on 2 cars. Or is it better to have a card which they can place on the dashboard?
Well, if you're asking my opinion, I think the card works better. Because if you have 2 stickers, you can request 2 stickers and pass one on to somebody. If you have only 1 card, it'll stay with the person who needs the help.
I mean, the car should be registered under your name, only then you get the 2 stickers. Jason, chip in, please.
There's no name on the card.
Okay.
A serial number.
Okay.
There's not even a license plate where you can match it up or something. Which, if it belongs to the person, not the vehicle, you don't need that.
Right. Jason?
So just for some point of clarity, are we now talking about the accessible parking permits that are issued by the province?
the blue card that
Yeah.
goes in the, on your
So,
dashboard.
Yeah,
or
so
in
those
your
are issued by
library.
the MTO. They're regulated by the province of Ontario, and there's legislation around how they are to be displayed, what they are to look like, who is to use them. They are enforceable. The City of Thorold's Bylaw Enforcement Division does enforce them when they are caught. Unfortunately, like any law, people break the laws all the time and don't get caught, so it's a matter of catching them in the act. But those are something that we do enforce already.
Okay, thank you for that update. Yeah. So what Matthew said is that we could, yeah, there's something which we can go ahead and make permissible as a city. We can recommend that to the council, and it should not be a problem because, of course, there is nothing more attached to it. So I believe that is a very valid point. Yeah, Matthew, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess with regards to the disability permanent exemptions, really, we could just ask council to look into how that, like if there's any other issues, like we're just looking at it from one angle. They can talk to bylaw, they can talk to other people. So, but I guess our committee can simply recommend that maybe this gets put on the radar and looked at as an option in the future.
Justin?
Just one item for committee's consideration is that there is a parking master plan underway as well, and the item of accessible parking permits could be considered by staff for that process as well. If
Okay.
the committee wants to recommend that.
Councillor DeRose, any comments from the city side?
Yeah, sorry I got here late. If you can just, Vikram, if you could just give me a heads up of what the conversation started with, what was the topic?
Yeah, so Angela presented a presentation regarding the parking permits for disabled people and the problems that they face during parking all across the city. And she wanted some changes in the structure of the way things work around in Thorold. So we were just discussing all those.
Yeah, what's the, Donna, what's the problem? Is it you're saying that people are taking advantage of it, or what's the issue?
There will always be people that take advantage of a benefit like this.
Right.
I don't want to divert the attention from Angie's very valid points. So I just wanted to, just point out that there are a lot of issues surrounding these cards and the parking benefits that they bring. I love Matthew's idea that if there's something we can do that doesn't require any money, let's do that first. So and then we can look at these other issues about signage and that sort of thing with a little bit more research and looking into costs and benefits and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I thought you spoke on it. You said Angie spoke on it?
Angie brought it up.
Okay.
As a holder of one of those permits, I put in my 2 cents worth, that's all.
Yeah, it's such a difficult topic because you don't want to label anyone, sometimes we see people, that person can walk fine. What do they, it's hard to, that's a tough call. I would let staff have more input. Jason's got his hand up. I never knew it was a problem. Maybe it is, but Jason and Sean, I'm sure can add more than I can. But yes, I'll let them speak right now. Thank you, and sorry again that I was late. Thank you. I actually was on. I couldn't get on, and then I was a few minutes late anyway because I was on the phone in a meeting with Manoj, and so that's what happened. But anyway, thank you, and I'll listen now. Thank you,
Jason, and then Sean can chip in with his words.
This is just a recommendation for the committee. The committee certainly has the discretion to do what they wish, but Angie brought up quite a few valid points there. Unfortunately, they were all verbal, and I myself wasn't able to keep track of them all. So maybe if the committee wishes to recommend that Angie provide a list in writing to the committee so that they can review all the recommendations or the requests individually and wholesomely, actually, so that they are providing proper recommendations to council. That's just a recommendation.
Mr. Dunsmore?
I just wanted to help Councillor DeRose a little bit with the item that we're talking about for the handicap spots, and that was the idea. Angie requested that the time limit be taken off of the handicap spots. So those spots down on Front Street that have a 2-hour limit, that wouldn't apply to the handicap spots.
Sean, thank you. What's forget me up to speed. What's staff, like, what do you guys think, you and Jason, about that?
I'm not sure we have an opinion one way or the other. What will have to happen is we will have to make sure that we control and make sure that the information that is being provided to us in terms of handicap accessibility is actually valid, as Donna said earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jason?
Yeah, my only comments to Councillor DeRose would be, and the committee would be, like anything, every action has a reaction. So if you were to, I have no objections in principle to waiving the time frame for people with accessible parking permits to be able to park downtown. Just as long as the committee and council is cognizant of the fact that doing so would limit the amount of parking for everybody else to be able to come in and out. So we were always receiving complaints about people not moving their vehicles. That's why the 2-hour parking was implemented to begin with. And so I don't imagine we're talking about a lot of vehicles here that would be parked there all day as a result of this. But I just want the committee to take that into consideration. That's all. Every action has a reaction.
Yeah, Councillor DeRose, please.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jason. My concern would be, I know outside of Henderson's in and around the drugstore, I think you would need to keep that 2-hour limit just because people are going for their prescriptions. And if you know, I think it'd be easier for people to get in and out. But you know, that's my only concern, is people having access to the drugstore you know, without having to wait long, and maybe they'd have to drive around till they had a closer spot. So that might be an issue we'd have to be aware of. Thank you.
Yeah, Jason?
So good discussion. I think if the committee has the desire to move this one item forward in advance of the others, they can certainly do so. And I think it's certainly something that's worth having council direct staff to look into and report back on.
So if everybody agrees, we can ask Justin to give us all the points that Angie made, and we can all go through it. Maybe now that the discussion started, we can do it as for the next meeting as well. By the time we would have all the points, and we would have the valid points of discussion on that, so that some result can come out during our next meeting, if that's good enough. Councillor DeRose?
Yeah, you know, I could put something forward earlier, because our meetings are so far spaced apart. Some of these things lose traction in 3 months, and you know, if I get the wording from what I missed, we can always ask staff for a report at their earliest convenience. Once again, staff's overwhelmed with projects, and but I'm sure it would give them more time, and it would let us do it in a lesser time frame than 3 months from now.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Rebecca?
you.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think we could probably put this one piece of it forward about potentially extending or removing the time limit, but the pieces, I think, to Matthew's point, that require either engineering or restructuring of curbs and sidewalks or crosswalks or anything like that, probably is a larger discussion to have. But if we could outline that in a list, that would probably be really helpful, and then we can talk about those bigger pieces at a future meeting.
Angie made a valid point in one of the that she's said that these bylaws are valid in Toronto as well. So we could look into that because it's already been there in some other cities. So maybe Councillor DeRose can look into that through the council.
Yep. Thank you.
Justin, can we be supplied with all these points? Then this could be taken up earlier.
Yeah, they'll be noted in the minutes, and then I have received some talking points after the agenda was published, so I can put that out as well.
Sure, thank you. So any more discussion on these points? Okay, thank you. So we can go ahead to the correspondence now. Thank you, Angie. We'll be looking into your points as well.
Thank you for letting me speak. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay, thank you for letting me speak. Councillor DeRose, I will actually send you a copy of what I presented today, and I've already sent it to Justin as well. If anybody
Okay.
else wants it, I can also send it to them.
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Sorry I missed your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead for item number 7 on the agenda, which is correspondence. 7.1 is point CL-C 46/2024, the Road Safety Committee resolution regarding Thorold Secondary School request. At their meeting on December 10, 2024, the council passed memorandum CL-C 46/2024 regarding the committee's request for staff to prepare a report on implementing road safety measures requested by Thorold Secondary School. Section 7.2 CL-C 48/2024 Road Safety Committee resolution regarding three-way stops sign request. At the meeting on December 10, 2024, the council passed memorandum regarding the committee's request for a report for a three-way sign stop at the intersection of Pine Street South and Beavers Dam Road. 7.3 is PWCS 109/2024 traffic calming Niagara Falls Road. At the meeting on December 10th, 2024, the council passed the report regarding traffic calming measures for Niagara Falls Road. 7.4 is PWCS 6/2025 Sullivan Avenue traffic and pedestrian safety study. At the meeting on January 14th, 2025, the council did not pass the report regarding a traffic study for Pine Street South and Sullivan Avenue and review the Towpath Street and Sullivan's Avenue intersection. The council referred the matter to the staff to investigate adding traffic lights at the intersection of Pine City South and Sullivan Avenue. So anything to be discussed on this, Councillor DeRose, on 7.4 regarding this, or Sean? Like the council referred the matter to the staff to investigate adding traffic lights at the intersection of the Pine Street South and Sullivan Avenue.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, what council's decision was on that front was not to do a study, a traffic safety study for that intersection. Instead, just move right ahead with the highest level of traffic safety we can create, and that is by putting in the traffic lights in the area.
Okay, thank you. Go on to point 8, which is follow-up of the items from the previous committee meeting. 8.1 would be parking restrictions in, yes, Councillor DeRose.
Sorry, Vikram.
Yeah.
How about all the other ones you mentioned? Are we going to stop and discuss those?
They were already passed by the council, recommended by the committee and passed.
Okay.
This was the one that was
Okay.
the staff.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we follow from the items from the previous meetings. The first one is the parking restrictions in Rolling Meadows subdivision. So anybody would want to discuss this? Yes, yes, Councillor Jason.
Yes. Oh, go. Was Jason first? Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
And thank you, Councilor Rose. Mind you, I'm always happy to give you. Anyways, my recommendation here, this one is not an easy one. My recommendation would be to refer this to the parking master plan, although I believe it may already be part of the review. As it is complex when you're talking about a large area. And again, as I mentioned earlier, every action has a reaction. So making changes in isolation can have an impact on other recommendations that may come through as the master plan. So through the master plan. So it's always best to look at everything holistically so that you're able to identify how one item impacts another.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, Jason, I know I keep getting emails, texts, calls about this exact issue. Are we looking at a setback at all from the end of people's driveways, or?
I believe we're on item 8.1. I don't think we've started discussion on the driveway one. But Vikram,
I'm sorry, I don't even have a copy of the agenda. Sorry. Okay. I'll wait for that then.
Yeah, because I stay in this subdivision, and I believe every day there is some issue on the Facebook group with people on both sides of the fence. It's become quite an issue here. And it's very difficult to manage both the sides right now. So yeah, we would be looking, the division would be looking to some kind of clarification from the city regarding this, because yeah, I believe, Councillor, you must be getting a lot of emails on this issue. But as of now, what I suggest would be from the city side or the council side would be to issue some kind of clarification or a directive or a letter telling the subdivision that your concerns are being looked into, because till today people are thinking that nobody from the city itself or the council itself is really doing anything for all these things. So my suggestion would be to drop in email to the residents, or anything which can communicate to them that the city is actively looking into it, instead of one of us replying to this to various members of the subdivision saying, oh yes, we are looking into that, because this has been going on since almost like 6 months now, and I don't see it stopping. With the snow around, it's becoming a little bit more active in the group. So yes, I believe this would, and the number of residents has tremendously increased in this area. So this is something which would have to be, addressed by the council as well. Yeah, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm just going to put this to Jason and Sean, if there's any way we could come up with something publicly, a statement publicly that what we are doing, and just because I think Vikram's right. They probably think we don't care or we're not doing anything about it, when really, we're trying our best, but it's a tedious process and there's steps to go through. And Jason, that's a great idea about going with the trying to piggyback on the parking master plan. But I know it's important to people, and other communities have these bylaws in place. So I think they're expecting us to do something about it. I know it is frustrating. If someone was parking at the end of my driveway, I'd be pretty upset. But it is a safety issue as well. So is there anything, Sean or Jason, that we can do in regard to that, just to get a notification out?
Yes, Jason.
Vikram, if you could clarify, I think we're still talking about the Rolling Meadows subdivision parking restrictions, not the driveway.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure.
Not the driveway. Driveway is the next on the agenda. The parking enforcement, I believe that's the one.
Oh, so is this more the side of the road that they're parking on, Jason?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad again. Okay, sorry.
So at this point in time, council has not given staff direction to review this that I'm aware of. And Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. So if we were to put out any communication to the community, it would be simply that the road safety committee is discussing the matter. Another option would be for the committee to submit a recommendation to council that they direct staff to look at it. So that way we are formally looking at something and we could communicate something at that time. But at this point, we don't have any direction from council to do that.
Mr. Dunsmore?
Through you, Vikram, it is a topic. Parking in the parking master plan is part of the process, and so this is actually being looked at as part of this. So I think any letter that we would put out would probably be best to direct them to participate in the parking master plan. There's a PIC coming up for that in the not too distant future. I'd like to tell you the date, but I can't remember it. So I think this is if these people are directed to that conversation, that would be helpful for everybody. So we could do this in a holistic way.
Thank you. So how does one go about doing this? Like any pointers towards that?
Yeah, it's on our website.
Okay.
There's certainly information on our website, and if you register for the Let's Talk Thorold, it would give you opportunities for us to keep in touch with you as you move forward. But I can certainly send out the link to that website to everybody on this committee.
Sure, thank you. That'll be great. So we can pass it on to the residents, and yeah. So we'll go on to the next point, which is the parking enforcement on Sunset Way. Councillor, this is what you're talking about regarding the parking in front of the houses. So
Yes, this is the issue I get the most communication with. Yes, thank you.
yeah,
And I think, did you want me to say something about it?
yeah, please
Chair?
go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, just I get pictures constantly. People are infringing on people's driveways without any respect, cars being parked for long periods of time. And a lot of these people in Rolling Meadows feel like they're being ignored, but I try to explain to them that Thorold's a pretty big city geographically, and it's hard to take care of every parking issue, but that staff is on it. But it doesn't help when people are upset and want something done immediately. But it is a concern. I know we've talked about it with Jason in regards to coming up with a solution, because now, Jason, I don't know if you looked at other communities, because I know other communities do have a setback bylaw, and I don't know if you've had a chance to investigate yet, but if you have anything to say, it'd be great. Thank you.
Sorry, Vikram, are you giving me the floor in response?
I didn't hear you out. Can you?
Councillor DeRose was looking for a response from me, but I don't want to speak out of turn.
Yeah. Sean, you can go ahead, and then we'll come to Jason up.
I was going to say I'll defer to Jason since Councillor DeRose asked him directly there. I'll follow up in a moment.
Okay. Yeah, Jason, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Vikram. So implementing or amending the bylaw, parking and traffic bylaw, to require a certain distance away from from driveways doesn't exist currently, as the committee is aware, but can certainly be implemented at council's discretion. Similar to what I've said a couple of times now, doing so would reduce the amount of parking available on the streets. So it would end up resulting in a loss of parking spaces. At the same time, I understand everybody's concerned with having vehicles parked close to their driveway. It is currently a violation to obstruct the driveway, but not to park right up adjacent to the driveway. And that, I believe, is the concern. Now, the matter on the agenda is specific to one street. My recommendation to the committee, should they make a recommendation to council, is that if changes are being recommended to the parking and traffic bylaw for this, it should be citywide, not on one street alone.
Yeah, Sean.
From what I observe, as well being a resident of Rolling Meadows, is maybe one thing that could get reviewed would be which side of Sunset Way was made parking prohibited. It was the, I guess, north side of the road, the playground side was made parking prohibited, as opposed to the opposite side where all the residences are. I don't know if all of Sunset Way or at least part of Sunset Way could get reviewed to have that flipped. It would make sense for a few different reasons. It would automatically prohibit parking in front of the residences, as well as, most of the people who would be coming into the community from outside of it would be there for the playground and would park on that side of the road, making it safer for them to access the playground. So I don't know if that's something that can be reviewed for the Sunset Way issue, just to kind of close the loop on that.
Jason, Mr. Dunsmore, any suggestions on that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we could certainly look at that. I will tell you that the restriction was made at a request of the residents themselves. So we actually had residents requesting that it be put exactly the way it is. But we can certainly reopen that up and hold another PIC and have more input if that's the preferred approach.
I believe, Sean, that the proposal was made by the residents, especially around the park itself, because that was the area of concern where in the summers there are a lot of people coming from outside the subdivision parking there, and this would actually block the road. But as we go further up towards the church, the road narrows down a bit, and that's where the parking issues really crop up. So I believe if we could, I don't know whether we can look into the parts of the same road separately, like Sean was saying, or does it, if we change the settings on one part of the road, it goes through all across the road. So there's something which the concerned people have to look into. But yes, definitely the issues came with the parking during the summers from the residents next to the park. Sean, anything from your side?
Certainly we could do that if that's the committee's request. We could certainly hold another PIC and get that information out to people and look at their opinions on that whole front.
And
I will warn you that in my experience on this front, on this specific issue, is that I've heard people on both sides of this fence. So. Okay,
thank you. Matthew, you want to say something?
Yeah, looking at this park specifically, is there any reason why it's such a large area? I mean, there's 2 soccer fields, the playground, didn't have any dedicated off-street parking designed initially. And is that something that the city could require moving forward so that this doesn't pop up again in another neighborhood?
Matthew, Mr. Dunsmore.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, normally in the city, we try to maximize our open space and park space by limiting the amount of parking we put on our parks. I will tell you that at our next meeting of council, we are starting the design for the turf field on the northern half of that park. And with that will come parking, because putting the turf field in there is going to be problematic and make that way worse. So our intent as part of that whole turf field design is to put about 100 parking spaces between the 2 parks, the one on the north side of Barker Parkway and the one on the south side of Parkway, kind of as a spillover for when the turf field is actually being used by organized sports.
Thank you. Sean, you wanted to say something before?
Nope, he addressed what I was going to bring up as I'm a member of the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee. I was aware of the intention for that coming up.
Yeah. So is there any way that we can convey this as well to the residents of the division? It'll be like, easier for all of us to understand that. And Councillor DeRose will have to deal with less emails from the residents asking for more clarifications on this. How do we convey to the residents of the subdivision regarding this? Like, how do we go about it, and through what channel?
Through you, Mr. Chair. One of the options, I think, as we move into that design of the turf field and other facilities associated with that park, one of the things we will do is, again, open up a website for that exact project. And what we can do is send out a notification to anybody that we have email address for right now to tell them that this is a good place to participate. And we would like to hear all their comments, including those comments about parking and whatnot.
Yeah, thank you. That would be great. Any discussions on this any further? Okay, we'll move on to point 8.3 PWCS ADH 2024 St. David Street and Ormond Street North traffic calming. Update from the staff. Is there any discussion? From Mr. Dunsmore, this update comes from your side of the office or from Jason's?
No, it comes from my side of the office. The intersection of St. David's and Ormond Street was a item that was brought forth by this committee. At this point in time, what we've done is we've installed the sidewalks, so there will be the curb cuts and the proper sidewalks across there. Unfortunately, we didn't get that done before the weather happened. So the line painting and the stop signs will be early in the spring to be installed. And I think that's all there is to do on that project at this point in time.
Thank you. Yeah, Donna?
Is the line painting going to be across all four roads or just across St. David's? Will there be lines painted on Ormond Street?
Yes, there will. And it'll be a four-way intersection or four-way stop as well.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so any more suggestions or questions to Mr. Dunsmore on this? Okay, so we'll go on to the next one, which is Leeson Street and Town Line Road West intersection. Again, Mr. Dunsmore, an update from you.
I don't have anything to update at this point in time. Staff is certainly looking into it, but we haven't made a progress that would be worth updating. Okay.
Okay. 8.5 is Barker Parkway and St. Davis Highway 58. Again, Mr. Dunsmore.
I hate to say it, but there's not much to update on this as well. I will say that this is very much tied towards the development of the Rolling Meadow subdivision. And so as future phases come on, I believe there's going to be a traffic signal installed there at some point in time. But that's in future phases. We are working with the developer at this point in time to make sure that we are expediting that as much as possible.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Dunsmore. Next would be Colburn Street and Richmond Street. The issue on that, is there any discussion on that? Or any update?
Through you, Mr. Chair, certainly we're looking into it. We've gone out and done some traffic counting. Traffic counting is also negatively impacted by the weather, so we will have a report early in the spring for this item.
Sure. Thank you. Councillor DeRose?
Yeah, no, that's great, Sean. That's great news because I know several residents near that corner and they've been asking for this for a little bit of time now, almost a year. And just to, they're concerned, and I don't know if you agree, Sean, but to slow down some of the speeding on Richmond. And I drive through there frequently. It's in my old neighborhood, and I do notice that there is a speed issue. So hopefully, yeah, staff's on it. So that's great news, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you. We go on to Chapel Street North and St. David Street East. Mr. Dunsmore?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Again, we've been looking into it, and again, with the weather, it's been a little bit on the challenging side to make any real final decisions, but we will certainly have something in the spring of 2025.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Rose?
Yeah, through you, Chair. What are they asking for a stop sign there as well? All-way stop? Is that what they're?
They're concerned about the safety and the general flow of traffic, and so whatever we can do to upgrade it, and maybe that's a stop sign, yeah, and maybe there's some other approach we can take on that front.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll come down to the committee business now. 9.1 is traffic calming request. One from Chapel Street, and Mr. Dunsmore, your views on that?
You'll see at the bottom of the agenda, which I'm trying to scroll to right now, a memo from our staff talking about the fact that we received a traffic calming request, a petition. The petition's attached. We went out and did the speed study, and we found that the speeding didn't exist, and therefore we are recommending that we end the traffic calming request. To do that, we need your approval to end the traffic calming request, and then we'll send out a letter to everybody who was involved.
So as a committee, do we give the approval to Mr. Dunsmore or Councillor Rose?
Yeah, can I put forward a motion? I think staff's done a good job here, and those speed studies are pretty accurate. So if anybody else have feedback, that'd be great. But I will support what Sean just requested.
So do we have a seconder to this? Rebecca, thank you.
Just, Mr. Chair, for you, and so you know, the wording is that staff consider not approving a traffic calming study for Chapel Street.
Okay, thank you.
So it's Councilor DeRose and Rebecca?
Yes.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Councillor.
Just can I ask Sean? Sean, I misunderstood. I thought you said a traffic calming, or you're saying it's not warranted. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, I missed. Okay, I thought you said that it was done. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so if staff says that, I will follow staff's lead. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. So we go on to the next one, which is Eastman Gateway.
Mr. Chair, we just need to vote on that.
Yeah, so for Chapel Street, regarding the recommendations made by the staff, I need a mover and a seconder for approval.
I have Councilor DeRose and Rebecca as the seconder.
Anybody opposed? None.
All those in favor, if you can vote with your hands, that'd be great. Thanks.
So the next is Eastman Gateway.
Similarly on this one, we received a request, we received a petition, we went out and did a speed study. The speed studies came back and showed the 85th percentile not being 10 kilometers over the speed limit. Therefore, according to our policy, this doesn't qualify, and we would like to put an end to the study.
So the request from the city to end the study on Eastway Gateway, and mover and a forward seconder. Councillor DeRose, Rebecca. Anybody opposed? Okay, so the committee recommends not Yes, Mr.
You
Sean.
have to ask them to.
Can we please officially vote as Sean is indicating? Yes.
I'm just getting the hang of this now. Okay. So next one, 9.1.3 is again Queen Street South. Yeah, Mr. Dunsmore.
Hold on, can you ask them? All those in
Oh.
favor?
All those in favor?
There we go.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah. Thank you. So next would be Queen Street South.
Similarly with Queen Street South, we received a petition. We did a traffic study. It identified that speeding was the 85th percentile was not more than 10 kilometers of the speed limit. Therefore, we would like to put an end to that study as well.
So as per the recommendations of the staff, we need to put an end to the study on the Queen Street South traffic measures. Councillor DeRose?
Yeah, I think from speaking to residents, and I do use that road daily, I think their biggest concern, Sean, and the rest of the committee, is that there's a kind of a blind spot because there's hills there, and they're saying that it's hard for them to turn on to Beaver Dams from Queen South just because of the kind of the terrible sight line. So yeah, I didn't think it was as much this. There is speeding on that road, 100% whenever the police aren't there, but if you say it's only 10 over, but so I don't know if that plays into it, Sean, but I think that was one of the concerns from the people that live closest to it was the sight lines. They can't see the cars coming. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Dunsmore?
Are you making a recommendation to change the outcome of that study?
No, I just wanted to get your feedback to see what you think about it. If it's you know, if it's worth being concerned about.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do know that there's a rather large tree there, which may be causing some sightline issues. I don't know that it's certainly been like that for a long time, and I don't know. But I don't have a recommendation moving forward other than the one that we have, and that is to end the traffic calming. If you would like us to evaluate the option for making that an all-way stop, we certainly can talk to the region about that because Beaver Dams is a regional road.
Sean, through you, Chair. I haven't driven the opposite way since they closed that bridge. So is there any way maybe yourself, I'll take a ride and just come from the Queen Street South direction and stop, and I'll do it tomorrow because I drive by to school there every day. Is there any way we can do that just visually and then see if there's, so can we defer this till the next meeting, and maybe even each committee member, if they know where we're talking about, can do the same, and then we can all have an opinion on it. I'm just going by what residents say, and I'd like to do it, just take that ride myself because I am curious because like I said, I haven't come through that road in years since they closed off the bridge. You have any thoughts on that, Sean? Or
Certainly, if you want to go for a drive, I'm always up for going for a drive and having these conversations. I'm here at 7:30 in the morning, so if you come by, we can certainly go for that drive.
Sean, and I don't want to handcuff you. We don't have to do it. We don't have to exactly do it together, but we can. But I'm just saying, even if every committee member, just so they have an opinion, like, you know what I mean? Like you see it firsthand. And of course, I want your professional opinion. So yeah, just in case I can't connect with you, but we can have a coffee break. But we'll figure that out. But yeah, I would like maybe every committee member to try to just travel. You know, go down Beaver Dams, hang a right on Queen Street, and come back and try to get onto Beaver Dams and see if this obstruction they're talking about, or the tree Sean's talking about, maybe something has to be done in respect to the tree. I don't know, but yeah, that sounds good though. Thank you.
Councillor, that's a very good idea actually. The only problem that I think will be for Mr. Dunsmore, he'll be having a lot of coffee with every one of us. If he's
That's not
okay
a
with that,
problem.
that's fine. So regarding this, Queen Street South, I believe we can defer this for the next committee meeting as suggested by the members. Justin, do we need to vote on this, or we just say defer for the next meeting?
It doesn't hurt to have a mover and seconder to defer to the next meeting.
Mover, Councillor DeRose, movers and seconder. Sean is seconder. So this, anybody opposing this deference?
All those in favor?
All those in favor? Okay. So there goes a lot of coffee for Mr. Dunsmore.
I'll supply the coffee if you guys come back.
Okay. So next one on the agenda is Rose Avenue. Mr. Dunsmore.
Similarly to the others, we received a petition to do a study. This one we did both a speed study and an intersection study, and both determined that things were not warranted.
So as per the staff's recommendation, I would need a mover and a seconder. Councillor DeRose and Rebecca. Anybody opposed to the motion or agreed? Anybody agrees with not doing the calming measures? All in favor? Thank you. The last one would be traffic calming on Uppers Lane.
This
Yeah.
one we received a request with a petition, and we went and held a PIC for it, although it was quite a while ago. And it kind of got lost a little bit on our end, so we're just going to send this report to council to install the speed humps along Uppers Lane.
Yeah, that would be good news for the subdivision, I believe. I need a mover and seconder to approve for the.
Yeah, just so it's clear, Mr. Chair, it'll be, if the committee is in favor, it is the Road Safety Advisory Committee endorse the recommendations in the draft
Yes.
report regarding traffic calming measures for Uppers Lane.
Uppers Lane. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor DeRose, Sean. All in agreement? Yep. Motion is passed. Okay. So I'm learning, guys, the first time for me to do this. So bear with me. So we move on to the next one, which is the roundtable discussion. Any items for the roundtable? Yeah, Matthew.
Well, it's fresh on our minds. So we had maybe 5 requests for traffic calming measures. If you read the speed studies, if the speed limit in the city was 40 kilometers an hour and under, most of those speed studies would show that there was speeding over the 85th percentile, I believe they use. So I forget where we've got with that 45 kilometer an hour speed limit citywide. It used to come up nearly every meeting, but it's something again to think about. So maybe that'll help some of these residents, turn the tide on some of these speed studies that keep going against their anecdotal evidence. Just something to think about. I don't know where we're at with that, but
Yeah, Mr. Dunsmore.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can give you a quick update on where we're at in terms of 40 kilometers citywide. The council gave us direction to do a test program down in Port Robinson East. We have gone through most of the installation of the signs in that area. And so early in the spring, maybe more late in the spring, we're going to go out and do a speed study to determine if the impact of those that reduction in speed limit is having the effect that we're having, and we'll report back to you guys as well as council on that front.
Thank you, Mr. Dunsmore. Any more points for discussion here? Yes, Donna?
I remember that when we did discuss this about the 40, changing it, the speed limits to 40K, we did also discuss having that done only on Pine Street and Front Street. So is that like a separate issue? Like if it doesn't go citywide, we could still consider lowering the speed limit on those two main streets?
Yeah, Mr. Dunsmore?
Through you, Mr. Chair, absolutely. The committee can make recommendations for anything that we want. Our direction at this point in time has been from council to do that test area, do some traffic studies associated with that test area, and give them some results. When that happens, then maybe that's when the conversation about putting the 40 kilometers on specific roads or all roads will come up. That the recommendation from that speed study will be somewhat open to interpretation, let's say. The city of St. Catharines did a similar test study. They found that the modifications to the signs, so the speed modification of their speed limit, made almost no difference to the speed people were traveling, and that didn't deter them at all, and they went ahead and made the entire city 40 kilometers an hour. So that there'll be some interpretation at the end as to what the outcome was that we were looking for and what we actually received. But let's try to get that study done, and then we'll have that conversation, okay?
One question, Mr. Dunsmore, just to be on the more clearer side. When a speed study like this is done, how do you determine the area that is chosen for the speed study? Is it population based or is it like traffic based? How does one decide which area to choose for the study?
For Port Robinson East?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for any study regarding traffic speeds.
We wouldn't, we could do it on a technical statistics based program. That's not what happened in this case. What happened in this case was that Port Robinson East was in the process of doing some traffic calming anyway. Specific residents really wanted to see a reduction in the speeds in very specific areas. And that's why council decided that that was going to be the test area, and to see what outcomes that actually come out of the whole thing, and see if it actually effectively changes anything. That was the thinking anyway.
Yeah, thank you so much for that clarification. Any other item for the discussion right now? Yes, Rebecca?
And this is more of a question, and I'm newer to this, so apologies, I should probably know this, but is there a way to find out what planned resurfacing there is this year or in the next couple of years? There's quite a few roads, but before I ask about specific ones, I'm curious if there's already a plan for 2025 for resurfacing.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, absolutely. We published that again, and I hate to refer to it again, but it's on our Lexstock Thorold page. It has its own separate project page for urban and rural resurfacing. I'm not entirely sure the list is on there just yet. It's certainly getting close because they need to tender it very shortly. So it will definitely be on the list, or the list will definitely be produced. If there's any specific areas that you believe the road condition is poor enough that it warrants some immediate attention, we will certainly take that information from you anytime you want. We have a rather significant complaints department, if you will, that will absolutely take these and direct them to the right locations. And if not resurfaced, potholes will be filled and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. So, and that's on the Thorold website, you said?
Yeah, you can certainly raise a concern on the Thorold website. You can also.
No, sorry, the list will be published on the Thorold website.
Yeah, the Let's Talk Thorold page
Okay.
for urban and rural resurfacing. But if there's anything specific you would like looked at, you could put a complaint in through the Thorold website as well. You can also phone, you can also email me directly. That would be fine, and away we go.
Okay, thank you so much, Sean.
Yep.
Anything else of concern? Yes, Mr. Dunsmore.
I'd just like to add to that last comment about any of these, and I think we had this conversation once before, but anything that you see that you believe is a deficiency in the road or signs or anything like that, you don't need to wait for the traffic safety committee to have those conversations. Put the complaint in. We will absolutely take care of it. Like, our guys really take pride in making it as safe as possible, and leaving this for some process is not what we want. So any eyes on the road is better than none.
Thank you, Mr. Dunsmore. You have a wonderful team there. One question though, and I believe Councillor Rose must be getting a lot of queries in this as well. The intersection between the detention center on Uppers Lane and the Davis Road has been an area of contention in the subdivision because of a number of accidents there. A lot of suggestions came up saying you should install traffic lights. I believe traffic lights would be later on. Is there any way that we can put up more signages there, or we could reduce the speed limit in a particular stretch there where these roads meet, so that any kind of mishaps like this can be reduced, or any speed humps in that area which could, I don't know whether you can put that on Davis Road. It's allowed. I wouldn't know, but definitely if you do that on the Uppers Road, because traffic on both the sides won't listen, and they keep blaming each other for that. So there were a lot of complaints, a lot of issues, a lot of suggestions. Sean, yeah, you go ahead. You stay in the subdivision, so you could shed
Yeah,
more light.
this sounds like a similar discussion that we had brought up with regards to Barker Parkway and Highway 58. With regards to traffic coming off Barker Parkway, disregarding appropriate distance from traffic already on Highway 58 that does not have the controlled intersection, the stop sign. They would have right of way. I do see from time to time traffic coming off, I believe that's Allen Port Road and Uppers Lane on the east side of Barker Parkway doing the exact same thing. I think this would actually be a provincial matter, as I think we discussed last meeting. But we basically, it would get to a point where Highway 58 has a stoplight every couple hundred meters on it. There would be no flow of traffic there.
Yeah, Mr. Dunsmore.
Sean's exactly right on that front. This is a ministry, like Davis Road or Highway 58 is a ministry road. Ministry has a slightly different approach to traffic than we do. They're because they're usually restricted access highways, their main goal is to get people moving and goods and services moving. They will heavily frown on putting a set of traffic lights every 200 or 300 meters on a provincial highway. I will tell you that those lights are in the development process. That was a recommendation of the original development plan. As that Rolling Meadows builds out, that there was to be a traffic control at that intersection. I will tell you that Barker Parkway and Highway 20 also was to be traffic controlled, and they allowed the construction of that turning circle that you see down there. So that might be the solution in the long run. But and I don't want to promise anybody anything, but at some point in time that is going to happen. It's just a matter of making, when that development builds out enough that the traffic becomes high enough volume, that's what's gonna trigger it. So we could certainly put speed restrictions on Uppers Lane. But Davis Road, yeah, I don't think we can, I don't think there's gonna be much hope in us putting speed humps on Davis Road. And I don't think we're going to do much in terms of reducing the speed limit on Davis Road either.
So we could look into the Uppers Lane going into Davis Road as one of the areas where we could work on it. That's just a suggestion. Yeah, we could come up with more suggestions from the subdivision later on from the next meeting, I believe. Thank you. Any other items for discussion? None? Okay, so we'll have a next meeting on 7th of May this year, 2025. I hope everybody agrees to that date. Is that fine with everyone? Perfect. So yeah, thank you. So with no further business, this meeting is adjourned today at 5:16 p.m. Thank you, everyone.